Alright, future global strategists, gather around. We've all seen the movies, the shadowy figures in dimly lit rooms, stroking white cats, plotting world domination. But in the real world, who controls everything isn't quite so dramatic. It's more like a super complicated, incredibly boring-looking, yet utterly fascinating financial spiderweb. And today we're going to untangle it not by looking for secret handshakes, but by simply following the money. The truth is, control isn't a single person with a giant on or off switch for the planet. It's about influence. It's about leverage. It's about who gets to say jump, and the economy asks, how high? So, buckle up because we're about to embark on a journey into the surprisingly unsecret world of the real power players. Spoiler alert, it's not your cat. Probably. At the very top of our financial food chain, acting like the world's most serious DJs, are the central banks. These institutions, often very independent from direct political control, meaning no one voted for them to be in charge of your wallet, wield immense power. They're like the quiet kid in class who secretly controls the entire school dance. When a central bank tweaks interest rates, it's not just a tiny number change. Oh no. It's a ripple effect that hits everything. Your mortgage, that car loan you were eyeing, how much companies invest, even the price of your morning coffee. When they decide to print more money or engage in quantitative easing, if you want to sound fancy, they can inflate asset prices and make the economy do jumping jacks. They're unelected bodies making decisions that subtly, or not so subtly, shift the financial landscape for billions. They might not own the instruments, but they definitely set the tempo and decide if we're all doing the cha-cha or the slow waltz. Next up, lurking just behind the central banks, are the institutional investors. Think of them as the unsung heroes, or villains depending on your perspective, of the financial universe. These aren't your average stock pickers. These are the colossal asset management firms, pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and insurance companies. They collectively control trillions upon trillions of dollars. Yes, that's trillions with a T. Ever heard of BlackRock or Vanguard? Probably not, unless you're really into financial podcasts. Yet, these firms are often the single largest shareholders in practically every major publicly traded company you can think of. From the phone in your hand to the food in your fridge, they own a piece of it. Their investment decisions don't just affect stock prices. They can literally make or break entire companies, steer market trends, and even influence corporate behavior on massive issues like climate change or worker rights. They are the silent giants pulling the corporate strings one share at a time. It's like they own all the pieces on the monopoly board, and they're just deciding who gets to pass go. Now let's talk about the companies you do know. The transnational corporations. These aren't just businesses, they're economic superpowers, operating across borders, employing millions and wielding more influence than some small countries. They're the ones making the products you love and some you probably don't, and their reach is truly staggering. These corporate giants aren't just passively reacting to markets, they're actively shaping them. Their immense financial muscle allows them to spend big on lobbying, influencing government policies to their advantage. Their supply chains dictate labor standards in developing nations, sometimes for the better, sometimes not so much. And their marketing power? It's so strong they can convince you that you absolutely need that new gadget even if you just bought the old one. While they're technically accountable to their shareholders, remember those institutional investors? Their sheer scale and global dominance make them undeniable players in the global power game. They're essentially running their own mini-countries, but with better marketing departments. But wait. There's more. Our money trail now leads us to the super-secret squirrel club of global finance. Offshore finance and tax havens. These are the financial equivalent of a secret hideout, offering incredibly low or non-existent taxes and enough secrecy to make a spy jealous. They're where colossal amounts of wealth from both individuals and corporations go to, become very, very hard to find. Now, it's important to note, not everything done offshore is illegal. But the sheer volume of money stashed away in these digital vaults raises serious questions about fairness, transparency, and whether governments can actually afford to build those pesky roads and schools when so much wealth is vacationing in the Caribbean. The opacity of these systems means we often can't track who truly benefits from this hidden wealth, or the full extent of its influence. It's like having a superpower but only being able to use it in international waters. The crucial thing to understand is that these layers of financial power aren't acting in isolation. No, they're like a giant, incredibly complex and occasionally dramatic family dinner. Central bank policies affect the profitability of corporations, which in turn affects the returns for institutional investors. Those investors, as major shareholders, then influence corporate strategy. And the money flowing through offshore systems? It impacts national tax revenues, which can then influence government policies. It's a beautifully intricate, sometimes terrifying dance. Plus, there's a constant revolving door of people. Individuals often move between high-level positions in government, central banks, and the financial industry. This creates a cozy network of relationships and shared perspectives. And let's not forget the think tanks and lobbying groups, often funded by the very wealthy interests we're discussing, who shape public discourse and whisper policy ideas into the ears of decision-makers. It's less a conspiracy and more just how the system works when everyone's got a lot of money on the line. Now, while we've been having a lovely time following the money, let's be fair, it's not the only game in town. The rise of big tech giants with their control over information and communication, the vast reach of global media organizations shaping narratives, and the geopolitical muscle of dominant nations also play massive roles. However, these other forms of power are often incredibly intertwined with and heavily reliant upon financial resources. You need billions to build a tech empire, run a global news network, or project military power across oceans. So, even when it's not directly money, money's probably greasing the wheels. So, who really controls the world? The answer, as we've seen, is less like a single villain and more like a massive, interconnected, highly efficient, and sometimes slightly bewildering global machine. It's a diffuse system of influence where central banks, institutional investors, transnational corporations, and the mysterious flow of global capital exert immense power. By following the money, we gain a crucial, albeit complex, understanding of the forces that shape our world, even if the ultimate controllers remain largely unseen, working quietly behind their giant spreadsheets. It's a system we all participate in, whether we realize it or not. What do you think? Did we miss any secret money trails? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey through the world's financial labyrinth, and didn't accidentally try to audit your own cat, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Orbit of Understanding insights. Thanks for watching.